Bonjour tout le monde. Il y a un processus électoral en cours aux États-Unis et évidemment, comme tout le monde, on continue de le suivre et on va continuer de regarder attentivement ce qui se passe. As everyone knows, there is an electoral process underway in the United States. We are, of course, following it carefully and will continue to as the day and days unfold. Merci tout le monde.
Vous pensez quoi de l'élection américaine?
Ben, comme le premier ministre l'a dit, on va laisser le processus électoral américain prendre sa place. Et puis, ben, évidemment, on suit la situation de très, très près. Mais on va laisser maintenant aux Américains, aux Américaines de choisir leur président. Et on est prêt, évidemment, pour la suite.
Est-ce que vous craignez des conséquences du Canada, un vote aussi serré, puis les propos de M. Trump?
Je vous dirais que la relation entre le Canada et les États-Unis, elle est profonde. Hein? Elle date de décennies et ça va toujours continuer. On a toujours travaillé avec des administrations, soit républicaines, démocrates. Mais comme le premier ministre l'a dit, on va laisser aux Américains, on va laisser le processus électoral américain suivre son cours et puis on suit ça de très, très près, évidemment. Merci. À tantôt.
Je suis ça avec grand intérêt.
Qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? Est-ce que c'est le résultat auquel vous vous attendez?
On n'a pas les résultats finaux. Alors, on va attendre. Et puis, mais c'est certainement une course très intéressante.
Avez-vous des inquiétudes?
Je pense que les Américains vont décider comment ils vont voter pour leur président, leur Sénat puis leur Congrès. C'est à eux de prendre ces décisions-là.
Il y a des effets au Canada avec la déclaration de M. Trump la nuit dernière, là?
J'ai pas de commentaires sur ça.
I think like all Canadians who were up watching last night, I am mindful of the precious gift that is democracy. That democratic process is unfolding as we speak. And here in this place, our job is to stay focused on COVID and on the path to recovery and working with whoever comes up top. So,
Any worries about what's going on?
honestly, right now, I'm worried about my community. I'm worried about the health and safety of the most vulnerable in our neighborhoods. I'm worried about women and the women who are trapped. I'm worried about the women who are trapped in, untenable situations. But I'm grateful to be a Canadian, to be here, to have an opportunity to do something about that. And of course, for a press that is free and independent. Thank you, colleagues.
Mr. Poilievre, are you concerned about some of the uncertainty in the American election with the uncertainty on the Canadian economy?
We'll have to see what they do.
And any thoughts on the PBO report rebuking the government for spending secrecy?
I was just going to actually give that a read, but I would just say I have to confess I haven't read it yet, but I'm aware of it. I was going to read that this afternoon. But I will just speak generally about the unprecedented secrecy and confusion about the government's finances. So we're now 7 months into the fiscal year, and we don't know the deficit, we don't know the spending levels. We haven't had a budget in a record 18 months. We don't know the date of a fiscal update. We haven't seen the mandate letter of the Minister of Finance. It looks like the finances of the nation are spiraling completely out of control. Now, the government will make the excuse that we're in a pandemic, but the pandemic lockdown started in March. This is over a half year has gone by, and it appears the government has lost complete control of the finances of the nation, which will not only spook taxpayers and businesses, but also financial markets on whom we rely.
Well, it seems that everybody's a little spooked today. Just to go back to the American election, sir, for a moment, just because Dan Kelly at the CFIB was saying this uncertainty in the outcome means uncertainty on the American economy, uncertainty for our economy. So how should the government be reacting to this to make sure that businesses aren't hurt because the American electorate have not had a clear winner in their election?
Well, look, I think we should focus on what we can control. The Americans have cast their ballots and they're doing their counting. They'll pick a president. We as Canadians have to work with whomever they choose. Beyond that, I don't think there's anything we can do. So I think we should just focus on our own finances. And we're getting much more uncertainty from our own government than we are from the American electorate.
Really quickly, do you have a timeline about when maybe the Finance Committee will be getting those bi-weekly reports that the government had previously provided?
That's another example. The government had committed it would provide bi-weekly reports on all of its COVID spending, which is, we're now talking about hundreds of billions of dollars of spending. And since Minister Freeland took office, those reports have ended. You wonder why it is that Bill Morneau was able to publish a report every 2 weeks, but Chrystia Freeland cannot. It seems like, and Bill Morneau was obviously an incompetent minister with serious ethical problems, but it appears that the new minister is even less capable of presenting the facts and information about the finance of the nation than he was.
We've seen a lot of uncertainty in the last couple of years because
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is that the Canadian government negotiated such a terrible trade deal. They made concession after concession, basically let Donald Trump do whatever he wanted, and got no concessions in return for Canada. We got no agreement preventing tariffs on our aluminum, no end to Buy America policies, no end to the softwood lumber tariffs. And so now we're suffering the consequences of the very poor negotiating on the part of Ms. Freeland and Mr. Trudeau.
So would you rather see a tougher Biden?
I am not a U.S. citizen and I cannot vote. So, you know, as the old prayer goes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you very much.
En fait, il faut laisser les Américains décider. On verra qui sera président. Il faut travailler avec celui qui va être en place.
Vous inquiète les propos de M. Trump cette nuit, les faits qu'il a gagné?
C'est une bonne guerre là, dans le contexte. Maintenant, on verra le dénouement.
Pas inquiet?
Pas inquiet. Bonne journée.
Merci.
Oh, je laisse le soin de l'analyse de la politique américaine aux Américains.
Ça vous surprend?
Non, je fais pas d'analyse de la politique américaine. La politique canadienne est assez difficile. Merci.
We take for granted sometimes how smooth and how effective our elections are, and how you know sort of effortless it looks, but how much work it actually takes. You know, democracy is a fragile institution, and we have to all be very careful about how we talk about these things and how we respond to them. You know, I hope they get their vote count done quickly, and I hope we get a clear answer soon. But I also look at it and look back at our elections, and just I'm grateful to Elections Canada and the good work that citizens and volunteers do to make it happen.
Given everything that's happened over the past 4 or 5 years, how do you feel about Donald Trump getting that much support? Almost got half the vote.
Look at, I mean, you know, you come across it in Canada too. There are people whose party allegiance is their party allegiance, and you know, they're with this team or that team. I'm not going to question people's motives for voting the way they voted. It's
surprised or disappointed?
You know, as a former pundit myself, I'm always surprised and I'm never disappointed. So we'll see what happens. All right.